If you're someone who has been following the Tesla story, Tesla stock, Elon Musk, Twitter, all this craziness, you know that Tesla stock is down a lot in 2022, which has taken so much of the oxygen and so much of the attention from the investing community and from many other groups as well. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there's some very giant trends that are going to start shifting in 2023 that I think are going to cause so much noise and so much upheaval in the auto market that they cannot be ignored, especially in the United States with the introduction of the Inflation Reduction Act, which has an EV tax credit of up to $7,500 for EVs. Any EV automaker in the United States, including Tesla, will be able to take advantage of this credit, and Tesla has already started discounting their models to match that EV incentive if you take a delivery of a Model 3 or Model Y between now and the end of the year. The $7,500 credit that they're giving is equal to the IRA EV incentive. And if we track the inventory data since they started the discount around this point in time here, which was around December 20th, you can see that the total new inventory in the United States has essentially halved. It's gone from about 1,700 units down to about 900. If I go to EVCPO, which tracks all new and used inventory for Tesla, you can see that Model 3 and Model Y new inventory is almost zero. It's about 65 units in total. Majority of the inventory in-house is Model S and X. To try and confirm this, I went to Tesla's website and I entered some random zip codes, but if you look at Austin zip codes within 200 miles, there is zero new Model 3 or Model Ys in stock. Now, what this implies is that this $7,500 credit that now applies to Tesla is creating a lot of demand, a lot of pent-up demand that wasn't there before. But the bigger story here is that most automakers have already been able to take advantage of a $7,500 credit. There was an EV incentive for all of 2010 that allowed people to receive up to $7,500 off their EV purchase, and manufacturers were able to provide this credit up to 250,000 units produced in the country. Here's a running list of all those automakers, and Tesla and GM are the only automakers that have reached that 250,000 unit cap, which means that at least for the year 2022, Tesla and GM have been able to give zero EV discounts to customers, while all other automakers have been able to give $7,500 off. However, starting in 2023, Tesla, GM, and every other automaker in the United States will now be able to give a $7,500 discount to all EV customers, which means that Teslas are now $7,500 cheaper than every other automaker. And of course, excluding GM, but GM has had a host of issues with their vehicle, including another recall due to fire concerns for their Chevy Bolt. And this story, I believe, is being completely missed by everybody for 2023, and the implications of this are gigantic. Let's put this within context of two other automakers, Ford and Hyundai. Ford's primary offering that's a competitor to Tesla's Model Y, as an example, is a Ford Mach-E California Route 1 starting at $6,300, and the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which starts at $5,200, that will become a Model Y competitor once we add a $4,000 option for all-wheel drive. Again, these automakers through the end of this year have been able to offer an additional $7,500 EV tax credit. Now take those two cars that have been receiving a $7,500 EV tax credit through this year and compare them to a Model Y long range, which is $65,000 starting with all-wheel drive. You'll see that the price difference between the units are pretty large. The Mach-E and the Ioniq 5 have been able to take advantage of that $7,500 EV tax credit that got started in the 2010s, compared to a Model Y that hasn't been able to take advantage of said tax credit until January 1st, 2023. Mach-E with the $7,500 credit is roughly $57,000, Ioniq is roughly $49,000, and the Model Y is at that $66,000 price tag. However, even with this huge disparity in pricing, Tesla has been able to keep a 65% EV share in the United States for all EVs. This includes every single EV model, including the Chevy Bolt. And this needs to be re-emphasized, even with that huge price gap between the Model Y and the Mustang Mach-E and the Ioniq 5 and every other model that exists in the US, Tesla has been able to have 65% EV share. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would love it if you throw me a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people. Thank you very much. But now that the IRA is going live in January 1st, Teslas have now become $7,500 cheaper in comparison. And you can see that the pricing between the models are now much closer. Again, it's super important to reemphasize this. The Mach-E, the Ioniq, and basically every other automaker do not reduce in price once the IRA kicks in January 1st. And that's because they never reached that 250,000 unit cap. So the effective discount for those models is zero. And for Teslas, it's $7,500. And this is where the story becomes super grim for legacy auto. Ford's net income as a percentage of revenue is 4%. Hyundai's net income is 4% as well. And Tesla's is 18%. This means that for every dollar that the company sells, 4% for Hyundai and Ford goes to their bottom line as profit, whereas Tesla's is 18%. This is another way of showing the huge disparity between automakers. If Model Y decided to pass on the profits to the customer as savings and have the same 4% net income as the other two automakers, the effective price for the Model Y would essentially equal an Ioniq 5 with the additional tax credit. And the Ford Mach-E would stick out like a sore thumb between those two models. And on top of that, if you layer on the objective differences between the models and the Tesla has an additional supercharger network, they have autopilot, full self-driving hardware, additional performance, better safety, better entertainment, better software. And if for whatever reason Tesla decided to match the profitability of those two automakers, they would be able to sell a Model Y long range, all-wheel drive with all those features at the same price, at the same net price as a Hyundai Ioniq 5. Tesla has a 65% EV share in the United States with a huge price disparity between their cars and every other automaker. Now with the $7,500 credit, Teslas are $7,500 cheaper versus every other automaker. And in the case of a severe recession, if Tesla decided to lower its prices and match the profitability of every other automaker, that I see little to no reason why anybody else would buy anything but a Tesla. Not to mention that Tesla is by far the only car company in the United States, especially, that has enough capacity to sell millions of cars per year. If I was an executive at these automakers, I would be raising alarm bells and red flags every single minute of every single day. This is a giant problem. I find it very hard to see how any of those automakers survive the next couple years without any sort of major restructuring and or bankruptcy or some bailouts that the governments have to put in place in order to survive a severe recession. And then if there wasn't a recession, Tesla already has a 65% market share, and now they're going to get an additional $7,500 off. So what do you think that's going to do to the market share? And this is without a pickup truck, and this is without a cheaper vehicle in their lineup. Maybe it's just me and I'm losing my mind, but I really do feel like 2023 is going to be a really dark year for legacy auto. And even though it's impossible for me to know what Tesla stock's going to be during this time, Tesla is not just well equipped to survive a recession, but to absolutely dominate the auto market, especially in the United States. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I'm looking at this properly? Do you think there are other variables I'm missing? To me, it seems extremely clear that Tesla is going to expand its market share in the United States, and that every other automaker, as we transition away from gas cars to EVs, are going to start failing one by one. But please do let me know if you think otherwise. If you'd like to talk about this and many other topics with my awesome community, consider becoming a patron by using the link in the description below, or by signing up right through YouTube by clicking join right below this video. And if you'd like to support the channel by purchasing some merch, just like the shirt I'm wearing right now, consider doing that as well in the description below. I hope everybody had a great Christmas and an awesome holiday weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.